Good morning, good morning. It's Joe here from Clipper Street, hopping on so that we can do our Crafty Hour 75. Just getting everything started and ready to go. A couple minutes early so that we can get things ready. Good morning, good morning. Hello, hello, good morning, everybody. Let's get Crafty Hour 75 started. Hello, everybody. This is Joe from Clipper Street. Let's see where we are here. Here we go. All right. Hopefully we've got good connection here with Facebook. Let's hope the Facebook's doing what it's supposed to. Okay. Hello, hello, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Just hopping on just a couple minutes early here as we're getting our day going here at Clipper Street. Good morning, Gay. Good morning, Kelly. Lovely to see you. Good morning, Sharon. Hello. It is such beautiful paper. It's one of those Crafty Hour kits where once you get the ball rolling, you just can't stop. There's so much to do. Good morning, Susan. Hello. Hello, everybody. Lovely to be here. Oh, first sip of tea. Oh, that's just the best. I went to Tim's this morning and they gave me coffee instead of tea, and I was very disgruntled, and I was very happy to catch Diane before she was coming in, and she saved me. She brought me a tea. Good morning, Kelly. Hello. Good morning, good morning. Hello, hello to the Crafty Hour gang. Hey, Julie. Nice to see everybody. I guess we'll just kind of hit it off here and get going straight away. I've got all my tools ready. I kind of came in a bit early so that I could get myself organized and situated. Good morning, Jen. Lovely to see you. Got a couple of cards here that we're going to do. They're a little involved, so I've only got two, but I think two is good. I find when you have so much paper and so much die cuts, it's a little overwhelming sometimes. Hello, Kathy. Thank you. I mean, the paper and the dies just kind of do it all. It's just a matter of getting your crafty groove going and then making a few things with what's there. Oh, thanks, Sharon. Thank you, thank you. I'm glad you like the dots. I'm like, when there's so many little things to pick out, I didn't want to pull them all out because a lot of the foliage and the greenery kind of look the same. So I thought if I left it on the sheet and just kind of either circled or dotted, but yeah, the color coding worked out really well. I'm glad. I had a few comments and a few thank yous for that. Okay, I'm gonna get started. I know we're always on a time crunch here, and I always just wanna say hi and do all those things. So hopefully you had a chance to observe the homework and pull out all of the little pieces that we need for the die cuts. What's great about these pads is there is 2 sheets of everything. So if I use something and then if Courtney uses something, it's totally fine because we've got 2 of each. It's all good. So sharing is really fantastic with these Studio Light die cut paper pads. And then the same thing with the paper. There's 3 of each. So if we want to go skedaddles on all the paper, there's still lots. So I wasn't too worried. So I do have 2 cards, as I mentioned. I'm just going to put these aside here. And we're going to do, I've kind of called this a matchbook easel, where it's got kind of a short area up at the top here. And then when you open her up, we've got the beautiful paper inside, as well as a pocket here, but then it stands up nicely like an easel card. Let's see if I can just tip this way here, or I'll just leave it here on the desk so that you can see. It just displays very nicely as well. So I call that a matchbook easel. And then I've done a faux step card. And I know step cards are not a new thing. I'm not going for a new thing. I'm going for something that utilizes the paper really, really well. And we're going to do this little faux step card ourselves. There's all my little notes on each card to keep myself in line and organized. So yeah, so I've got lots of little die cuts and lots of the paper kind of showcasing in these cards with a little bit of the silver foil. You can do silver glitter paper. You can really sort of mix and match some different teals into this too. But yeah, that's what I'm offering today, is a couple of really good display cards as we go into the holiday season. That's what I got going on. So we're going to start with this beauty here. And I love this trend in owls. So when I was flipping through the papers and I saw the owl paper, I was just mesmerized. And I am a blue card kind of winter Christmas card kind of gal. So this just, Deanna is really, really kind to offer this Crafty Hour to me, because I'll be making my Christmas cards with this paper. So I've asked for a card base that is 4 1/4 by 11. So that's 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, cut in half the lengthwise. And then I've got all my silver pieces that were mentioned in the homework. Couple of matting pieces there, just for the front, just to make the front fancy. And we're gonna do some of the die cuts here. I've popped all mine out, got them all ready last night. So I've got that owl image. So anything I think that had a red dot was for number 1. This is number 1. So you want to grab all your goodies for number 1. I know I'm going to lay all these out here, and then I'm probably just going to shove them to the side again and move, but just so that you can see kind of what we're working with here. Sentiments, of course, are always an option. There's lots to choose from in that little die cut pad. And let's get, I just kind of stick all of my little goodies into a little envelope that says number 1. Got an extra card base just in case. And then there's my rectangle that I have cut out of some just white cardstock as well. So I'm going to be cutting some paper first to get all of the paper cut. So I've got pattern paper from this lovely strip here going all the way through the card. So a little bit on the front, and it's all kind of layered here, but it's nice to have it in each section, in each segment of the card, so that it's decorated all the way through. Of course, you can kind of go into the back here if you want, but don't want to go too crazy here. But I've got a little pocket down here in the bottom. Pockets are always optional. You can leave this area blank down here so that you can have a message area, or you can always do your messages on the back. But I'm a message on the inside kind of gal. But yeah, little pocket, doesn't have to be a pocket. But when you put a lot of effort into making a card, it's nice to make the card a gift as well. So I'm just going to have that kind of off to the side here. Let's put it this way. Let's see if it's still in the screen there. And we're going to do some cutting of some paper, and then we'll do some scoring, and then we'll do some putting together. So I'm going to take the blue paper that has the owl in it, this very dark, rich blue. Let's get my card ones here. Keep myself organized here. So here's, look, I've got notes. This is going to help me do all my little measurements here. So I've got my owls, my owl blue for the inside and my owl blue for the outside. So first off, I'm going to cut this down to 4 inches. That's going to be my first cut. So 4 inches. So my owl is going to go into the trimmer. I'm going to need a long trimmer for this one. And I'm going to go to the 4 inches, and I'm just going to cut that dark blue paper away at the 4 inches. That's the widest measurement that I need for this paper here. So I'm going to go for the inside first. I really like this owl image here, and so I kind of wanted to segregate that guy so that when I open up the card, I have a really nice image to look at that matches the image that I'm building on the outside there. So he's going to be my first cut. So it already is 4 inches. These are my inside, let's put it into the screen here. Sorry. Let's get this going here. Don't want to confuse everybody. You'll get this over here. So my first cut is 4 by 5 1/4. It's hard to kind of know where I am at here. Let's get the measurements here. So I'm going to have my image go right down to 5 1/4. That's my scoring. There's my blade. There we go. So I've got that whole owl kind of in that center of that image there. Okay, and then I'm going to need another piece that is 2 by 4. It already is 4, so I'm just going to cut off a 2. Let's cut off a 2. And the pattern's going to match kind of all the way through the card. Okay, so there's my 2. Those are my inside pieces. And then my outside pieces are a little bit smaller because I'm going to map them with some silver paper. So I've got a 3/4 inch by 3 3/4. So first off, I'm going to get my 3 3/4. So I'm just going to take a little 1/4 of an inch off of that 4-inch width so that I can get some smaller measurements here. So just a 3/4 inch little strip. And that's for that top part of the matchbook. I'm not really gonna worry too much about how the snowflakes are matching up and all of those things, because everything kind of gets separated a little bit. So this is just a little piece, 3/4 inch by 3 3/4. Okay, and then I need one more that's 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and that is a square. I believe that might be just about what I have left here. Might be a little bit smaller. Might be a little bit smaller. There we go. I'm going to keep it at that. I'm not going to cut anything off of it. And if I need it to be a little bit bigger, I can always cut some off of my blue paper or one of my secondary sheets that I have in the pack. Okay, so there's all my pieces. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to score my card base. I'm just going to leave this here in case you need that. In case you need that, if it's still in the screen there. Oh, I said I was going to swipe all these up here. Let's get them out of the way. There we go. We'll get to you guys later. So let's go into scoring. Go back to my trimmer here. So this does end up being an A2 size card. So we just need to sort of change the scoring measurements rather than scoring it in half. We're going to score it a little bit differently. All right, so there is my score. My first score is going to be 1 1/4, and that's that small little top flap at the top of the matchbook. There, so 1 1/4. Just going to fold that down so that you can see just 1 1/4, just a little guy. So then I'm going to flip it over to the other end here and toss her in there at 4 1/4. All right, so 1 1/4 first, flip it, and then do 4 1/4. So 4 1/4 and 1 1/4 equal 5 1/2. So that should be in, they should meet there, just like so. Whoop. So this portion here is 5 1/2 inches. So that'll fit nicely into an A2 size envelope. Just gonna get my little bone folder here. And if it doesn't meet, Here, you can always just sort of trim it if it's not straight, if it overlaps a little bit. I don't think that's a problem. You know what happens when we put paper in the trimmer, it just kind of has a mind of its own sometimes. Normally with an opening and a closing, something that's going to be worked a little bit, I'll work the hinge of there so that it just gets a little bit loose and it's not so stiff. So I'll just have them kind of go back and forth a couple of times. Get them all nice and relaxed and stretch out the fibers of that paper. Here we go. So it just kind of opens a little bit easier. I'm using 110-pound Neenah cardstock, so it is on the thicker side. So I like to burnish a little bit more so. All right, there is my silver paper. So I'm just going to be playing layer up the paper now. And I'll let you know when I'm popping something up and when I'm moving on to the next one. I'm going to start with some silver layers here, and I'm just going to put these flat onto the front of the card. I didn't put any of the foil paper in the inside. I just didn't want to put too much bulk on the inside. I'm putting a pocket in there and some gift cards, so I think that's probably bulky enough. Let's just play the matching game. This one might be a little bit smaller, so I'm going to bring it down to the bottom here so that my three edges match along the bottom. And I'll explain why I'm choosing that rather than cutting a new piece. There we go. And I'll just get my, there you go, my Silver Mary cardstock. There's my little label from the corner of my 12 by 12. There we go, just nice and centered. And then just get this little strip in here. I'm going to put all the snowflakes to the left side there, just like they are in the pattern paper. Going to be very careful with my liquid glue, and if you want smaller borders, you would just cut your papers just a little bit bigger so that it was tighter to the edge. Okay, I'm going to open her up and get these papers on the inside. And if you want to use any distress ink, I would probably use sort of a nice medium brown. I'm going to end up doing a little bit of that on the front and then do my card base when I'm finished my card. There we go. Look at that beautiful owl. Just gorgeous. All right, so then I'm just going to tear this one here just to kind of give it a little snow edge, and I'm only going to glue 3 sides, and I've made this kind of a bit of a chunkier piece so that it does hold something like a pocket, but then I'm also going to embellish this as well. Okay, let's see here. There's my little strip. I almost lost him. I just did a little 1/4 inch by 4 inch strip here just to do a little tasting of silver on the inside. I'm just going to have that go straight across there, and then I can build up a little stopper along the bottom here with some of the die cuts on top of that. Okay. I'm going to cut a secondary rectangle out of some of that dark blue paper that we cut away. Here it is, the one that we cut away from the owl paper, just so that it matches nicely onto the front. You're only going to see a little bit of it here as we pile all of these lovely little dimensional die cuts and things on top of here. But it's a really nice kind of base to add to the front so that we have something sturdy to layer onto the front there. So what happens then is my silver here is going to get covered up quite a bit with all of these other elements that I'm adding on here. So I'm not so worried about having a bit of space there. Just going to grab a die cut machine here. I'm just going to say it's kind of off to the side. I'm just going to bring it in here so I can cut a rectangle. And the nested die set that I used, I'm just using the one that is just slightly smaller than this one so that they mix together. I think this is a nesting set from Nellie's that I have that's like an inside outside one so that you can create frames. But any rectangle, any sort of long oval would look really nice as well if you wanted to use a different shape. And there's lots of different dies in the pack where you can build up on some nested shapes. There's some really cool stars as well that I thought would be nice with the deer. If you had some nested die sets with these deers, you could probably do something very similar with those as well. Because we all collect those, don't we? All the different nested sets. So there we go, got a little blue. Put it on my white here, just so I got some of that in the background. And then I'm going to distress the edges of this so that it has some brown. And for my appearance today, I'm using a fresh distress foam. It's a brand new one. Just for my appearance today, we've got a fresh foam. So that ink's going to come off very, very nicely off of that foam. Here we go. Just brings in some of that earthy kind of color that is within some of the die cuts, some of the outdoorsy, woodsy goodness that's in all the branches and the pine cones and things that are in the foliage. So we'll kind of tie that into, and then the white isn't so white, but very necessary. Really, really liking that crisp white in the paper image as well. So let's just do a little brown edge all the way through the card base. Once you do a little bit, you can't just kind of stop there. You gotta do the whole goodie. And what's great about distressing is it's very forgiving, especially with some of these die cuts that have quite a bit of white around the edges. I really usually take my scissors and kind of trim them up a little bit so they're a little bit tighter to the image. But a little distressing kind of gets rid of some of the ones that might just be a little too fiddly. There we go. Oh, let's do that top bit there. And then I'm just going to open it and put it back so that I've got a little bit on that inside crease as well. And then same here. I mean, how boring can we get here? Let's just watch Joe distress things. But if you're doing it at the same time, we're all good, right? There we go. Little bit of brown. I couldn't resist. I could not resist. It just kind of tied it all together there. So I'm going to attach this extension piece here just at this little top flap. And that's going to kind of gauge how kind of tall your easel is going to sit there. So if you got it kind of up here, then it's going to come down low. So I'm going to just come quite close to the edge over here. I'm just going to leave maybe a 1/4 of an inch or so, and then I want to still see some of this pattern paper up here, so I'm just going to be mindful of that. So just a little bit of liquid glue there. You can use some score tape if you want, sequin tape, and get that on there. I'm pretty happy with the liquid glue. Going to come down about halfway. Going to budge around on me a little bit. And I'm just going to give that a moment to bond while we take a sip of tea. There we go. So that is good to go. I'm going to keep that nice and closed now so I can start centering my pieces. Don't need this here anymore. And we don't need these here anymore. I don't think we do. If we do, let me know. And I'm going to keep this here and I'm going to start doing some building. All right. We had a great sale on foam tape and I am out of white foam tape. So I think I'm going to be okay with some black foam tape. This happened in class on Sunday as well. So I'm still working through the black foam tape. All right, so I'm going to center my owl image here. I'm going to center this guy. So I'm going to put some foam tape in the center. And at the same time, I'm going to do a little distressing of this piece. I really like how they've layered some of these sort of normal square images to look like it's got like a little bit of torn paper around the back, a couple of sort of disheveled layers in the background. It's really up my alley. I really like the style of the dies that are in this, and the imagery that is in here in this book. Let's pull off these. And we'll get this. I'm going to hang it over the edge here so it stretches out and fills up more of the front of the card here. Okay, so it's centered as best I can. Maybe you'll see that it might be smidged up just a slight bit, but that's okay. And then I'm going to keep building from there. And you can audition some things if you like, but I'm going to start kind of working this out where I've got some greenery coming around the right side here. And then I've got maybe another one kind of stretching out to the bottom here. I don't want it to stretch too far, so let's keep within the card and make sure that that doesn't hang off the edge. Okay. So I'm going to use some foam tape to keep those in line with that owl image that is there. So they're going to kind of go into some key places. Key places for support. So maybe a little bit behind the top here. And then maybe we will just put a little bit on the side here where it's going to kind of meet and catch those little stems. But think about your layers, think about how everything's going to sit, and if it needs a little bit of support or if it's going to hang off the edge and it needs to be level. That's kind of what we're going for here. And I also don't want to see any foam tape when I open it, right? I don't want to see any here, and I don't want to see kind of any little sticky bits hanging off the edge. This little guy is going to come in here flat. And I did use this one to extend it down a little bit. First of all, because I like to have that sort of full kind of fluffy foliage look. But bringing it down ever so slightly also creates a little bit more length in what's happening on the front so that it sits nicely too. So I'm going to put that one flat down onto the back as just kind of an extender piece with a little bit of glue, but I don't want it hanging off the card, otherwise it ain't going to fit in the envelope. There we go. And then we're going to do the other one that's going to come down. So I'm just going to put a little foam there. And probably some on this long end here where it kind of stretches out, which will probably come about there. Sometimes it's easier to put it where you want it to go rather than trying to miss all the places where you don't want it to go. There we go. There we go. So where it meets in the middle here, I'm just going to put this cute little snowflake here, just the smallest one that was on that snowflake sheet. And you can pop it up again if you want, but just make sure there's something under there to support it. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue there, and it just kind of tidies up where all the branches kind of meet in the middle there. And I still got my owl kind of poking around the corner. Can still see the branch that he's sitting on there. And then in my version here, I've just added some, you know, little gems in the middle. I don't know what it is about snowflakes, but I think pretty much every snowflake needs a gem in the middle. They just do. So over on the side here, I've got Have a Wonderful Christmas. And this is an example of one of those dies, one of those images where I just don't like that white on the edge. So I'm just going to come around here and going to make it brown, because it just kind of looks like it's not okay. There we go. Now it's okay. There we go. It's okay. So let's get some foam tape on there. And then behind here, we're going to dress this up with some more of these lovely little foliage branches. And these ones here, this is like the same image, but it's like a lefty and a righty. So it can definitely kind of hug around the bottom there, just like that. And then have a Wonderful Christmas over top. And then I've also added some little gems into there as well. So it kind of extends out. All the branches are kind of going into that direction. Oh, look at that. My foam tape just picked that all up nicely. Love when the glue does a double duty. There we go. Double duty glue. So just have that on the side there. I just want to see my owl, my little guy there. Have a Wonderful Christmas. And then if you want to add some of the little gems over top of some of those berries in there, that's an option for you as well. Okay, so these gems I think I used were from Spellbinders. Some of their crystal ones, they're very faceted and they just catch the light so nicely. And then when I open her up, I just want to decorate this little area here with some of the foliage as well. And I want to pop that up. You can use a lower level foam tape if you want. I'm just going to cut off that little bit of fake jute, a little bit of paper jute there. Just a little bit of brown around here just to get that a little bit more conducive with the color of the image. And we'll just pop it up a little bit. Just pop it up a little bit. I'm going to get my foam tape all ready to go. And I think I'm going to take this one here and I'm just going to split it in half. This doesn't need to be too bushy. Don't need it to be too bushy, but just a little something something there. There we go. Maybe just even it out a little bit. Just a little something there. Just so that it has somewhere to stop. Somewhere to stand nicely. So I got my little pocket. That was quick. That was good. Oh, I am impressed. I'm like, oh, you've bitten off more than you can chew, Joe. But there we go. There is my matchbook easel. It might be called something else, but that's kind of what I call it because I think it looks like a matchbook that's folded over. So that is card number one. Card number one. Card number one. And then we're going to go to card number two. Love this little punch buggy. Love, love, love. Oh yeah, I would love to see maybe this done maybe in some of the other papers in the pad. Really like the dark wood one as well. This one that has this snowflake border here, it's just absolutely stunning. So I've pulled that out to make some other cards as well. But all of these beautiful papers, beautiful. Okay. And this is A4 paper, so you kind of always get like a little bit extra with A4, which is nice. All right, so I think we've all seen a center step card. This is my faux version of a center step card. It's the easy way to make one without using a die cut or doing sort of multiple cuts with your trimmer and all of that. So we're just going to do a little bit of scoring and put it together. Nice and easy. There's my 2 pieces for my card base. And then I've got all the business here. I've got all the silver pieces that were mentioned in the homework. I always bring an extra card base just in case, you know? What if I do something wrong? Okay. Got a little snowman. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so there's all of my things. You can really go to town with this one, like really build a cool scene. There's so many cool die cuts in there that you can definitely change up the scene for different recipients. So I was really pulled towards the little deer as well. I wanted to use the little deer, but I only had so much space. So I think I ended up pulling off like a little bunny or something so that he could sit with the snowman, but I don't know where he went. Okay, let's get scoring and cutting some paper. Now, I had said pull these 2 papers. And I think when I initially started making this card, I wanted to kind of show that when you have a scene paper, you don't always have to make a scene, that you can utilize the paper in different ways. But then I ended up kind of just using this blue one here. So that's what I'm going to go with. So I'm sorry I asked you to pull this, but I did use some of the blue kind of up at the top. I like that kind of wispy, windy looking snow flurry going on up there. But I think we'll just stick with this one to make it nice and easy. And I'm going to take card number 1 and put it away. So we've got some space here. There's my silver pieces. Keep myself in check here. There's my dies. And then if I need anything, I can just always go to the die pad and grab something extra. Okay. So for faux easel, let's cut paper first. Let's cut paper first, and then we'll score. All right, I got notes. Inside, front, back if desired. Because this is one of those kind of cards where it kind of if you can just cover it with tons of paper if you want to. There's lots of places to put paper. And again, if you want to have a pocket down here for a gift card, you can leave it like that, or you can just leave it open so that you have a signature message area. All right, let's get a cutting. My widest, my card base is 4 1/4. Okay, and so then we then go into smaller increments from 4 1/4. This all folded up together ends up being an A2 size card, with the length being 5.5 inches and the width being 4 1/4. So we've got it in sort of a nice kind of small little step card style. And so we're going to stay within that 4 inches, just like we did with the first card. I'm going to start at that 4-inch mark and just cut, that's my score, and just cut a long strip from there. Okay, so for my inside pieces, and my front of the card and my back of the card, I've just kind of labeled all my little notes here. So if you want to take down some of those measurements so that you can do it again later. I'm going to start with my inside pieces, 3 1/4 by 4. It already is 4 inches. We've made it nice and easy that way. So I'll go to the 3 1/4. Then I want a 1 1/4 by 4. So I'll just keep chopping as I go along here. Choppity chop. There we go. So those are my inside pieces. And I'm just going to take that and put that there so that I remember that that's what those are for. And I'm going to go to my front. My fronts have a little bit of a different dimension rather than 4 because I'm going to be putting them onto some silver paper. So I've got 2 by 3 1/4 and 1 by 3 1/4. Yes. 2. So I'm going to cut 2. I like that little swirly there. And so we'll go to 3 1/4, 3 1/2, sorry. I'm reading quarter, but it says half. There we go, 3 1/2. And then I've got a 1 by 3 1/4. So we'll go 1. There we go. And then we'll go to 3 1/4. Interesting, interesting. 3 1/4. There we go. All right, so I'll put that with my front. And then I've got the back papers. Back paper is maybe not so important, but it really sort of finishes and polishes up the card itself. So back can mean lots of things. Back can mean here, and it can mean here. Okay. So we'll start with 3 1/4 by 4. Going back to a 4, so 3 1/4. There we go. And I'm going to need to go into my other strip here. And cut some of this. I really like this kind of dark bit here. It's got all sorts of cool little flourishes and things there. So I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. So 3 by 3 1/4 is my last measurement here. I've done the first one and now I'm going into another strip here. So I'm going to cut at 3 inches. There we go. And then I'm going to make sure that that is 3 1/4, which I think it's not. I think it's 4. 3 1/4. There we go. There's those 2 pieces. All right, now I'm going to grab what I need to score. I don't want to throw any little scraps away. I just think this paper is so beautiful. 2 pieces for scoring. All right, so we've got this portion here, which is the card base, and that is 4 1/4 by 10. All right, 4 1/4 by 10. And this one here is a 2 1/2 inch strip. I think that's what I asked for, by 11. So it's kind of your standard 11-inch piece of paper. All right, let's put these up this way, out of the way, and we'll come back to them. Scoring. Here we go. We're going to score 3 different scores here, and we're just going to score and then slide her along and keep scoring. So I've got 1 1/2, and I'm going to score, and I'm going to slide her on down to 3 and score. So that's 2 segments of the front of the card that are the same size. 1 1/2 and 1 1/2 is 3. So far so good. We got the right measurement. And then I'm going to go to 6 1/2, which means I got to pull out my arm, and go to 6 1/2. There we go. So now this portion and this portion of the card should be the same. And it is. Yay, we have success. So that's going to sit really nicely in a tent type style. So with this card base, with the 2 small scores down here, the first one you're going to push up so that it's like a mountain. And then the second one you're going to push down like it's a valley. And then bring the back to the back there so that it closes. And then again, we're just going to burnish, burnish, burnish with our bone folder. Don't know where that went. Here it is. Everything's just kind of everywhere now. Just give that a really nice score. There we go. I love the little car as well, and it comes in a couple of different sizes in that die cut pad. So you've got some options to have it nice and focal, right close up and center, or you can have it in part of a scene into like a smaller build a scene type thing. Okay. This guy here, we're going to score in half. And we're just going to alter him a little bit, just to make sure that the card is nice and tidy. So I'm going to go to 5.5 inches. 5.5 is half of 11. And that's where we'll score that. There we go. There we go. So we'll just get that ready to go. And that's going to be the tall part of our faux. There we go. Just like that. Makes it nice and tall so that we can add all sorts of goodies to there. Now what I want to do at the back here is I want to just trim a little bit off the end here. When I'm layering and putting paper on here, I don't want the whole long piece to come to the end. I want it to be kind of hidden along the back here. So I'm just going to just trim this ever so slightly at the back. Just kind of just like a little, just a little tiny little bit. Not really a measurement, but just a little bit. Just like that. And then it'll just sit better. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna glue. I'm gonna glue. Gonna get it centered and centered. Okay. Now before I attach this, it'll probably be easier if I put my little center pieces in here instead of trying to jimmy them in there and get glue everywhere and all of that business. So I'm just going to grab my foil that I need for the inside piece there. And that one was cut so that it fit nicely there. And then I will take my one here that fits into there. That one's not it. It's going to be the one that is 3 by 3 1/4. Okay, that one's just going to nestle nicely in there. I'll get my Nuvo. And we'll get that into the center there, and then that just kind of makes the production of everything just a little bit easier. Just got a little bit of an easier flow. All right, you can always pair this color paper up too with a really nice teal, but I just think it would look nice with a nice kind of fine silver glitter as well. When I think of snow, I always kind of go to the silvers and the blues, right? All right, now let's get our little guy on top here. We're just you can attach it with whatever. You can do liquid glue if you want, or you could do some score tape, some sukwang. That's completely up to you. There we go. I just don't want to go all the way to the bottom there. I'm just going to do a smidgy above so that when I line up my paper on there, I don't see that on the edge there. Okay, and if you want to do the same thing on this side, you can. I was gonna suggest tucking it in there, but it really doesn't work to tuck it in there. So if you want to trim this side as well, just a little smidgy so that we don't see that coming down super low. Let's do that side as well. It's like 1/8 of an inch if we're gonna pull out measurements on that one. You do one and then the other one will just kind of fall into place when you fold it. I'm just going to do a couple little strips of some sukwaing here just along the bottom. I don't want it to go too far up. And then you're just going to kind of fold that and let that go where it needs to go, just like so. Then it's just kind of a matter of decorating. And I've kind of separated these areas into little segments. So I've got an area here where we've got this silver. And let's go to the front papers because this is a front paper. And this one here seems a little short, but we're going to cover it up. It's all good. Going to go right to the top and even that out at the top. It's like Jo and her short papers. What are we doing here? There we go. Like that little swirly at the top so that we've got some pretty pattern. That's going to go behind our snowflake die cuts. Here we go. Here we go. And we've got our little short guy here. Here he is. Here he is. Here's our front. This one's short too. Just doesn't seem quite right. I'm actually going to cut another one there. Maybe I'm putting the wrong ones on here. What am I? Maybe I'm... I don't know what I'm doing. Hold on. Let me sort myself out. Maybe I didn't do 3 3/4. Maybe I did a different measurement on my trimmer. Because 3 3/4 is what it's supposed to be. So it's supposed to be 1. It's supposed to be 1 by 3 3/4. 3 3/4. Here we go. Okay, that's right now. I must have cut a short one earlier. Here we go. I cut a short one and nobody told me. This guy, I'm going to pop up. And there's a good reason for that. And as much as I would like to use white foam tape, I don't have any right now. So we're going to go with black foam tape. I said one thing and then the note said something different. I was just kind of, I was going rogue, Valerie. See, you all are paying attention. This is fantastic. Okay, I've got some black foam tape here. Please use white. It kind of really doesn't matter. It just kind of goes in there and it kind of disappears, right? Let's get this guy nice and flat so we can line her up nicely. There we go. So now with this front part popped up, what I've created is almost like a little ledge for things to fit and to go, which makes the seam building part of this nice and easy. The other thing that I'm going to do is take a little bit of white cardstock and create a little snow mound for the front here. So just a little bit of white cardstock. Sure we got some of that handy somewhere. And I'm going to make it probably the same size as what I have for that little front piece, the 1 inch by 3 3/4. So I got my 3 3/4 by 1. And I think I'm too far off to the side here. I'm sorry about that. Come on, trimmer. So I just got a little strip here that is 1 by 3 3/4. So that is going to be the same as this blue piece that's on the front here. Just the same. And then I'm just going to rip it. But I don't want to rip it so that it's too narrow. I want it wide enough so I can put another little strip of foam tape behind there. And if you guys like the thinner foam tape, this works just fine with the thinner foam tape too. If you want sort of a lower profile on things. So I'm just going to fit that just there. It makes for easy sticking. There we go. So I'm just going to line that up there. Now that gives me a little place to sit the car. And then I've got places behind here where I can sit the trees. So I don't really have to do much to any of these things. If you want to add some iridescent stickles, that would be a really welcoming addition to some of these snow-fallen branches. All right, so I'm just going to sort of spread this out across the front. And if anything kind of sticks out, like this little area here, I'm just going to chop it off. But yeah, I'm going to just attach these with a little bit of tape, with a little bit of liquid glue, whatever suits your crafty needs today. And just make sure that those are secure on there. So it's just a matter of kind of dressing up my card now. And there's lots of different trees in the die cut pack. There's ones with snow, and there's ones that are just bare. There's all sorts of really good images to build a different style of scene with all the trees. I just love all the trees. We'll get that one there. And anything that's sticking out off the side, you can just trim it if needed, or kind of round it so that it looks a little bit tidier. There we go. And let's put a tree on top of the car. Like we've gone out to the woods and we've got ourselves a Christmas tree. There we go. There we go. And then I'm just going to add that with a little bit of foam tape across the bottom. I was going to say foam strip, but I think I'm good with this guy here. Seems to be just about the right width, just to kind of get tucked into that snow like it's coming down the road. And then that gives me a little bit of sort of a different dimensional level there. I've got my little snowman. Can just glue him into the trees. Just on the side there. And then the top area, I want to do this cascading snowflake embellishment here. So I've got the big one. And then I'm going to take a little square and build up one of the smaller blue ones. Just stick her in the middle. And of course, these guys are going to need some gems, right? They're going to need some gems. I love the bug too. And if you want to color the bug, you can always color the bug too. If you want a different color one, you can definitely color him up with some of your markers, some of your felt pens, some of your inks. So I'll put that in the middle, kind of like it is the beacon shining star there. And then I'll kind of create this angled look where I've got one a little bit lower on the left and one a little bit higher on the right. But I'm going to make sure that I keep within that width of the card so it still fits inside of an envelope. Okay, so I got to be mindful about where I'm putting my glue. And I'm going to stick it to the back of that front piece, just a little bit lower. And I'll take this one and do the same, but just a little bit higher. a lot of business going out here in the parking lot. So lots of busyness here at Clipper Street. Now, of course, we have a place here for a sentiment down here along the bottom. I've done your standard Merry Christmas, but if you want to have one just going across that top snowflake, you can have her up there as well. And there's lots of sentiments at the back of the die cut book. There's all these little strips as well, and all of these ones that have this like faux twine on them. And all sorts of greetings that work with Christmas and the holidays and also with winter. So you can combine some of them as well. Really, really, really good ones throughout the book as well. Ones that are a little bit more bigger, a little bit more substance to them. So you can pair those up with the images that are with them throughout the book. So I hope you like what we've done here. I've definitely enjoyed creating with this product, and yeah, that's my 2 cards for today. Crafty Hour 75. Who knew? Who knew we'd get here? Oh, I'm so glad you like them, Evelyn. That's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna put my little Merry Christmas down here. I like this this kind of, it's almost like a jewel tone green one. It really brings out the green in the trees as that accent color, because everything is lots of white, lots of blue, lots of silver. But that little touch of green really kind of ties everything together. And of course, add the gems, add the stickles, add the little snazzy glitter things. I hope it was inspirational. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, everybody. I think I'm cresting here right into the 11 o'clock moment. So I just wanted to say thank you, everybody. And I will let you know that our latest Crafty Hour, the Crafty Hour 77, Crafty Hour 77 is going up for grabs tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So please meet us here then. I have been told that the lovely Jen will be doing the next Crafty Hour, the Crafty Hour 77. So can't wait to see what she does. I know what it is. It's really, really good, and you'll be very, very happy. We are always very, very happy when this product comes around for Crafty Hour. So we will see you tomorrow. Oh, a Tesla. That's so funny. Thanks, everybody. I'm glad you liked the cards, and I will post some photos in the group. And I can't wait to see what you guys do with this kit. There's just, the options are endless. I've got a few more cards brewing on my desk as well, so I will probably post those too. Thanks so much, everybody. You take care, and we'll see you next time.